Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. This is United vs. Everybody. I am your host, Sean, and just glad to be back. It feels like it's been a hot second. Obviously, we've done a couple of videos throughout this international break. I've thrown a couple of, yes, pre-recorded videos, but videos nonetheless up there. Obviously, we've got the What If episode that just dropped. We've got a Scouting Sport special that just dropped as well. We did the transfer season, our transfer window and season prediction video with Dylan last week, guys. Go check that out. That video has kind of been blowing up over the weekend, so I'm really happy to see that. But today is a very special edition of the Man United News Roundup because it happens to be the channel's 500th video, if you can believe it. I promise I have a life, I swear. But it's been a crazy ride, right? Just watching the community grow, watching the subscriber count go up, watching just the videos get more interactions, seeing the live chats get more and more populated with recurring members, but also new faces, and then those new faces keep coming back. It's been great. I love it. Technology, right? I get to talk to you and you're halfway around the world. It's beautiful. But it has been awesome. So thank you guys for jumping in. Whether you've been a ride or die from the beginning or joined at some point, no matter where along the way, thank you guys for contributing to the channel, for supporting the channel, and really just being part of the journey. Like I said, this is your guys' channel. I just throw out the topics because I want to know. I honestly, God, care about what you guys have to say and your opinions, and I throw out the topics because I know what I think. I want to know what you guys think. So whether it's videos like, what can Ineos learn from Wrexham, or, were we wrong to sell McTominay, scouting reports, match reactions, whatever, I care more about just hearing what you think. So thank you guys for sharing your thoughts and getting involved. It's been a blast. So make sure to keep doing it. Like the video, subscribe if you guys are new. Today we're talking a little bit about, transfer talk. Obviously, we'll talk a little bit about news that's going on just around the league as well, in different ways, because it's always interesting to hear people's thoughts on manager sackings and different things like that as well. So we'll talk a little bit about that. So let's dive right in, you guys. Make sure to check those memberships out too as well. Some new designs in the UVE store, please. And then tomorrow, I just saw on GoGoalShop. You guys know I'm a big fan of GoGoalShop. Tomorrow they're having a flash sale, so there's going to be jerseys available on GoGoalShop for like $10 tomorrow. Now it's tomorrow only, I believe, so go check them out. I don't know what jerseys there are. I want to say I saw that maybe this year's home shirt, it will be a $10 jersey, but go check it out. You guys know I do love them. There is a link in the description of the video with a code. If you use that code, you get $5 off when you register, when you use the code to register, not just in general. So register with the code. But yeah, go check them out. They're a really good source. No, it's not 100% authentic, but it's as good as, honestly, from what you get. So plus you don't have to spend an arm and a leg. So let's see who's in the chat, you guys. Make sure to like, subscribe. Who is getting involved? Danny B in the house already. Way ahead of me on scouting reports. Yeah, I saw your message earlier. Isaac Price was already on my list. Been watching him. Really good young player. You guys know I wait. We do these scouting report videos every now and then periodically. I wait until I get about 5, 6, maybe 7 young players or hidden gems, and then we go ahead and do a whole nother video. Seems like you guys like those a little bit more than me dropping one into a random Man United News Roundup or something. But plus, it's easier for me to keep track of that stuff if it's in its own little video. Then I don't have to go back and scour all the videos like, oh, when did I scout this player? Not just put them all in one video. Pretty simple. So, but yeah, Kirill Glebov. Yep. I am familiar with Kirill. Appreciate that. Yeah. You guys know I don't shy away from looking around different leagues throughout the world, Russia, things like that. The Ukraine, we've scouted players from the Ukrainian league as well. So, keep a lookout. But Danny is the other scout on the channel. Danny, I'm telling you, man, just follow your dreams, dude. Go get that talent identification bachelor's degree. Go become a football scout, man. There's so many clubs hiring, like even United's hiring right now, like an academy, assistant academy analysis, like analyst. I mean, like clubs are hiring. They need people. So go get that training, man. Speaking of training, my crazy ass might be doing 2 certifications at once here. Obviously, you guys know I'm part of a PFA's business school's football psychology program. That's been like a year-long program. But I'm also considering doing it's like a month-long player care certification. So player care officers are a big part of clubs, obviously, and they handle that can be multiple people doing multiple different roles, or one person if you're at a smaller club doing a lot. But basically, their job is it's not only handling the mental well-being and stuff just going on with players, but just basically it's almost like the best man at a wedding, or the maid of honor almost, and you're just making sure the players' lives are a little easier in a lot of different ways. So looking at doing some of that as well, but that will kind of overlap with the tail end of my PFA course. So I swear, I promise I have a life. I really do. It's just my life is just filled with football related stuff. So, oh no, yeah, there's been a lot of interesting stuff going on. Bill, you guys haven't met Bill, but Bill is a freaking fire cook, man. Big up Bill for he hooked me up with a nice little fillet of ahi tuna the other day. I seared that up nicely with a little everything bagel seasoning and dipped that into some sauce. It was delicious. But I saw he had texted that like Italy had allowed Israel to come in and basically just put a bunch of goals past them. You guys know I don't watch international qualifiers, international friendlies. I will watch the World Cup and the Euros, but I don't really care much about qualifiers. As long as nobody gets injured, that's all I really care about. But sorry about that, Danny. Jada Hill, welcome back. Says I see Gallagher in the thumbnail. I wouldn't be able to handle seeing Gallagher, Bruno midfield. I would hope Ineos avoid the guy. Interesting. Well, let me know what you why you think that way. I actually don't have a problem with Gallagher personally. I think from a mentality standpoint, he is streets ahead of a lot of the players in this squad in terms of just resilience and effort, intensity. I think that he has that fight. We saw it at Crystal. He was honestly Crystal Palace player of the season, and we'll talk more about this in a little bit. But there are worse players out there than Conor Gallagher, and there are worse players in this United squad than Conor Gallagher, I guess is what I'm getting at. But alone on deadline day would not have gone amiss. I think that it could have only helped. Up. Big up, Rob, always United. Welcome back, bud. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope everyone's Tuesday is going. It's been a beautiful fall is here. I don't know where you guys are, but fall is here. It's my favorite time of the year. Nice, cool weather. The windows have been open for like a week. It's been amazing. Love it. So, but yes, let's move on. Happy birthday, Bruno. Our Capitano is 31 years old, I believe, if I remember. So big up, Bruno, for just, aging like a fine wine. The guy's literally always fit. His form, it's up and down. And I think the people do not like his attitude. He kind of acts like a spoiled kid at his birthday party every now and then. But can't doubt the guy's class. His numbers speak for themselves. And I think we're better with him than without him, especially when he's on point. Obviously, he was not having he's not having his usual stellar form this season. Obviously, I've said many times, he was our worst player against Arsenal. He's kind of meh against Fulham. I think he'll be fine and shake it right off. But happy birthday, Bruno. See what you guys, Bexy, welcome back. Elliot Anderson looks really talented. Yeah, we scouted Elliot Anderson a while back on the channel. Really, really good player, man. He's really, really good. Johnny's got a little bit of elucidation here on his Conor Gallagher opinion. It says, my issue isn't Gallagher if it's a loan, but my thinking is more that I just really need that big midfield signing. You sign the correct midfielder, your team usually gets up tenfold. Yeah, the thing is with the midfielder, and you're absolutely right, Johnny, the thing with their midfield is we actually need two, because we need someone on the left-hand side, the playmaker, or the right-hand side. We need someone who's a bit more of a playmaker, and we need someone who's got a little bit. Obviously, I would love it if you could get both, who are physical, intense, and also can pick a pass. It's very rare to get one of those, let alone two. But I don't have a problem with complementing that. Ruben Amorim kind of had that a little bit at Sporting as well. I don't think that would be a problem. So there's a lot of interesting double pivot iterations that I think we could target in the market. It's just going to depend on funds. It's nice that we got a lot of business done, because maybe next year we just go hard for midfield, maybe a defender, and if there's opportunities, maybe someone like a right back or something. I don't know, but it's nice that we got a lot of key players in this season. So let's see. Like Danny says, probably need three. Yeah, and Bruno is probably going to go. And who knows what happens with Manu? Casemiro is going to be gone. Ugarte. Again, I've said it many times. 4 people that can play that position, or who are playing that position. 2 of which probably won't be here next summer. 1 of whom's probably not good enough. Manu could go at any point in time, and he's young. If he's not willing to be patient and wait and take a rotation role, or better yet, push himself to kind of reach the levels that he really needs to be if he wants to get those minutes, then Manu might be gone too. We might be looking at a lot of replacements. So maybe like a Sekou Kone or a Fletcher sprinkled in there as well for rotation. Who knows? Maybe Collier could ball out on loan and comes back and he becomes a regular. Who knows? But it's interesting stuff, man. Bexy says Ugarte should be good enough. We spent. I mean, I don't hold players accountable for the price that we pay. You guys know that. I think that I think that we all kind of knew what we were getting with Ugarte. I think that there were glimpses and flashes of some ball progression, of some press resistance. Like when he's on, he's on. It's not when you think of Ugarte, you don't automatically think of press resistant, composure, playmaker. You don't think of that. He's an aggressive ball winning midfield. He's there to mop up basically. If he could add a bit of composure and even a little bit of press resistance, let's say he's like a 3 out of 10 in those. If he even got to like a 5 out of 10, he could be a really good squad player. Obviously, I'd want to improve, but I just haven't seen it consistently enough. And he didn't have a great preseason. He didn't have a good start to the season. It is what it is. All right. Let's talk about some interesting stuff here. Let me get to my slides. All right, let's start here. Let's talk about some interesting stuff because, and we'll talk a little bit more about this with Dylan as well. But let me say hi to Arcam. Arcam, how you doing, bud? Still need a right wing back, Maguire, Shaw replacements, 2 center mids, and maybe another striker. 6 players is too much for this board who struggled to close. Striker is going to be interesting. This depends on where you see Xerxes as well, but I don't have a problem with that. I mean, Biancheri's probably, he's what, 18, 19, like I think he's almost 19, right? He could come in and rotate. Maybe it's better for him to get minutes. Who knows? Welcome back, Arcam. Let's talk about this nonsense because this had me freaking dying. Here, let me do this instead. Oops, wrong one. I'm going to put this a little bigger so we can see what we're looking at. What is happening with this Hall of Fame? You guys see this nonsense? About this Premier League Hall of Fame shortlist. First of all, this is a lot of people. What is that? What is this? I know how to count. It's 8. So we're looking at 15 nominees, right? That's a lot. Are there any that we could cross off this list? Like Eden Hazard, probably. Like, are you going by quality of player? Are you going by trophies won? You're going by longevity in the league. Some players, I probably wouldn't automatically consider Patrice Evra in the Premier League Hall of Fame personally, but again, this doesn't mean I don't rate him. You guys know I love Patrice Evra. But this is just crazy. I don't know how any City player can get in there because City have only been relevant for 12, 13 years. They've been relevant for half the time the Premier League's even been a thing. So I don't get that one personally. Michael Owen, still clinging to what he did as a teenager. Obviously they don't put themselves in here. If Sol Campbell doesn't win, he'll probably throw a fit. That guy's just pretty big. It's got to be first and foremost. How is Gary Neville not even in there yet? How is Gary Neville not already in the Hall of Fame personally? The Matty Vidic has got to be in there for me. Maybe it's United bias, but for me, I look at this and I think Neville and Vidic for sure. And it's maybe I'm more angry that Neville's not already in there. But Vidic, how many defenders have won Player of the Year, let alone twice in a row? The guy's an absolute baller. What are you guys saying here? Gary, big up Gary. We're just kind of laughing at the Hall of Fame stuff. And second of all, how is Slippy G even in the Hall of Fame? You guys know that he's like Steven Gerrard's already in. How can someone who's never won a Premier League be in the Premier League Hall of Fame? For fuck's sake, Anderson's got more Premier League medals. Why isn't he on the list? Why isn't he in the Hall of Fame? And how the hell did racist John Terry get into the Hall of Fame? This is the kind of stuff. This is why I don't really get into the Ballon d'Or. This is why I don't get into this kind of stuff. It just because this is what it becomes. It becomes ridiculous. It's popularity. We're not going to talk about Ryan Giggs not being in there because we've already spoken about that in the past. I think it's an absolute travesty that he's not in there. I think the Premier League is absolute cowardly, spineless when it comes to that kind of stuff. But yeah, this is interesting stuff. Let me do this real quick since you guys are here. Exactly. That was the first thing I said, Gary, is if you're going by quality, talent, cool. But what else? What else did Hazard do? He's not really going to do. Johnny says, not gonna lie, I think Vidic or Van der Sar will easily win this. Is it how many players get in? Is it 2? Yeah, I think you vote for 2, right? You can go vote on the Premier League website if you want to. I don't know if there's a limit or anything, so it's really ridiculous. But Arkham says, we're being serious. Vidic deserves to be there first, 2 times player. Exactly. I mean, how is Vidic not already in there? How is John Terry in there? How is Steven Gerrard? Like, it's getting to be a joke, man. Like, an absolute joke. Gary says, yeah, but according to that Ballon d'Or, Vidic wasn't hard to play against. Does anybody really listen to what Gabby Agbonlahor has to say anymore? Like, does he even still have a job on TalkSport? It's ridiculous. Our game says, not only did Slipper G not win the Premier League title, he cost Liverpool a title. Yeah, I think that how Steven Gerrard is in is just an absolute... that one's going to bake my noodle for a while. I don't understand how that happens. John Terry being in there, it's just ridiculous. Jomo says, no Cantona in your Hall of Fame. What's that? Oh, is Cantona in the Hall of Fame? I think he's already in the Hall of Fame. Personally, what up? Welcome back, though, Jomo. Big up, Stephanie. Welcome back, Stephanie. Yes, how's everyone doing? Hope everyone's having a good Tuesday. Let me know where you're watching from. Get involved in the poll as well. We're going to talk about midfielders, but we had to start with all this Premier League Hall of Fame nonsense. Jomo, we did a. It wasn't this past summer. It was the summer before that. Dylan and Joel, and then all of you guys, anyone who was a part of the channel at that time, we did a all-time United starting 11. So we did voting. We did voting ahead of time. We did voting live and everything. We put together a starting 11 based on you guys' input and our votes and discussions, and we put together an all-time starting 11. I think Cantona and Rooney were the strikers in that. We did like a 4-4-2 thing, but I think Cantona goes in a lot of people's legends and everything. Stephanie said only players that have won a Premier League title should be careful. Well, Slippy G is already in the Hall of Fame apparently, which is absolutely ridiculous, man. Like ridiculous. It's all a big it's a shambles. And then if you want to get all like political about it, the fact that Giggs was not literally the first. The Giggs should have been the first and only name on the list in the first like round of inductees when it first started, and then they should have waited till next year to give everybody else. The guy is literally like the most decorated Premier League player of all time. Should have just been Giggs and Sir Alex, and then hey, we'll see you guys next year for the next round of votes. Until then, like, work harder. Gary says, I couldn't give two shiny shits what Giggsy did in his private life. If he's not a Hall of Famer, the Hall of Fame itself means F all. Well, the thing is and I don't want to get too much in because I don't want to have a whole thing. Well, the thing with Giggsy is there's two sticks that people beat him with. And one of those sticks is literally like almost the same thing of what John Terry did in terms of cheating. The other stick wasn't even a stick. It was nothing even like happened. Like, it's just ridiculous. It is what it is, man. I don't want to get in it. Johnny says Shesko has to be in here. Just bagged me 36 goals. There you go. There it is. Needs you as his agent, man. Stephanie says, sounds like a backslapping society. So, I don't know, man. This Premier League Hall of Fame junk, I remember when it first started coming out, and I was like, I just only see this just causing so many weird conversations and weird discussions and just weird takes. And of course, that's what happened. Is this what it is anytime? It's basically just voting for, prom king at this point. So, but it is what it is. So we haven't had a chance to chat about all this Andre Onana stuff since it went live. Obviously, I put out a short the other day. I had class, so I wasn't able to get involved as much. But yeah, it may have taken 2 years. It might have been 2 years too long. But Onana looks like he is finally leaving United. And obviously, that came from Romano this week as well, who says he will be joining Trabzonspor on loan. Now, the issue here is, and obviously he's probably going to do his medical this week and everything. The issue here is no buy option or loan fee. So he's just going. They're paying his wages, according to Laurie Whitwell, which saves us a little less than $4 million a year. Again, medical booked for this week. I might cry tears of joy at this one. This is honestly, I've never been like happy for a player to leave. This might be the first time. This might be the first time. This guy is just absolute dog shit when it comes to goalkeeping. And so obviously we've talked about that. And what's nice too is apparently with bonuses and whatnot, he's going to be getting paid more from Trabzonspor than what we paid him. So not only are we saving the money, he's getting paid more. So it's It's interesting. What are you guys' thoughts on this? Because I haven't had a chance to check. And you guys know my thoughts. I did a little dance, made a little love, pretty much get down tonight when I heard this. Super, super excited about this one. Mostly just because of looking at Lamans too. Like we got Sen Lamans. I mean, the writing was kind of on the wall, right? I mean, we all knew what was going to happen when we brought Sen Lamans in. Stephanie says, question, is best all-time United 11 just Premier League or ever? We did pretty much everybody. I think what you're going to get, though, again, if you're not of a certain age, obviously that's going to influence. Like, I could easily sit here and say, oh, Sir Matt Busby or Bobby Charlton. I was too young to watch those guys play. And so I feel like, for me, it's, players that I've watched and grew up with. So I think the oldest player we had in there was Dennis Irwin, if I remember correctly. But you have to go back and watch it. It was a pretty good. It's a longer video, but it's a pretty good one. If you can listen to podcasts, you can watch the video. It's pretty legit. But yeah, we went through the all-time United Start 11. Everybody was up for grabs. Old players, Best, Aston, all these guys, and then obviously, I don't think we did a manager, like a chosen manager, but I think we all know who that would be. So, Johnny says, then again, Saka's bagging the Spurs. Gary says the Onana loan is as good as any transfer. Really, it is. And this is like what we said sometimes. The fact that Andre Onana is, in my opinion, and again, you all can differ, is a net negative. Like, he hurts us more when he plays than he helps us. It is addition by subtraction, Gary, right? It is like getting you out of here is going to just make us more comfortable, more secure in between the sticks, especially on set pieces. Lemons is like top 1% for crosses claimed. But like, again, the O principle will tell you that, that whole theory of Onana's negatives, they multiply, they spread like ripples in a pond, because now they impact his defenders, which then impacts the midfield and the wingbacks and stuff, and so on and so forth. Having someone back there who's competent, and yes, Lamans will take a bit of time, give him some time, but having someone who's a little bit more confident and control the box and is just a little bit more just capable will make a huge difference. But you're absolutely right. Big up, Dylan. How you doing, man? Went from 6 to 12 when I heard you. Yes, 6 to midnight, bricked up. We might be the bricked up moment of the week in tomorrow's Kickabout special. Don't forget to come by with that tomorrow, guys. We're going to be hopefully talking about a lot of things. Ruthless Ineos and Ruthless Amorim will probably be the big theme of the night and things like that. So make sure to mark your calendars, hit that notification bell as well. And again, don't forget, flash sale at GoGoalShop tomorrow, $10 jerseys for some of these things. Now, the jerseys they pick are random, but they're pretty legit. So, but yes, I think instantly went from 6 to midnight. It's bricked up, knocking things over. Our game says, apparently Onana said in his Traps and Sport interview, the problem wasn't between the sticks, it was elsewhere. Yeah, it was between the ears. The guy is literally no resilience, no confidence, no focus. The guy is literally just faking it till he makes it. He looked like he was just spaced out all the time. Not because he's dumb or anything like that. Like, I'm not gonna call him dumb. He's bad at goalkeeping. He just is. No matter how you slice it, he's just bad. Maybe it was the pressure of United, like whatever you want to call it. Maybe he's just not the command his area kind of goalkeeper, and the physicality of the league, especially Arsenal's set pieces and whatnot. I mean, there was a time with Onana between the sticks where I think it was like nearly a third of the goals we were conceding were from set pieces, from corners and stuff. And so that can't happen. That just cannot happen. And then you don't even get into some of just the flat out mistakes he was making, palming shots back into the box. That I keep bringing it up, but the Gibbs White goal that we conceded was just an absolute travesty, man. The situation with Galatasaray, I was at that match. It was embarrassing. The ripple effect of just groans and disappointment in the crowd was just, you could feel it physiologically in that moment. It was just like defeated, man. It was so messed up, man. Mark, welcome back. Says Ruthless Ruben needs to start winning, or he's on. Hold on, it went up on Adios Express platform Prime. Yeah, we're gonna talk a little bit about that as well, because I can say that 6, 7 months, 8 months, or whatever with one preseason is not enough. But at the same time, I can also say that he really needs to figure out a way to start putting some wins together. I mean, just back to back in the league would be great. And so two things can be true at once, I think so. But I agree at the same time. I can say, he needs to start doing better, or else he's probably going to be let go. But I can also say, he's his first preseason. So we'll see how it goes. Again, it's not up to me. He'll get sacked or he'll get backed, depending on how the team performs. And so, you guys know I don't get into the whole sack Ruben Amorim out kind of conversation. Our game says we've had crap players before, but Onana is so bad. Fans have accused him. I've seen some people accusing him of match fixing. It's funny though. All of a sudden, this whole Amorim or Onana FC people are coming out of the woodwork in the media. And have you seen? There's this nonsense article in The Athletic from Matt Przdrowski, who I guess used to be a goalkeeper. He's like a goalkeeping consultant or writer or contributor for The Athletic, apparently, but basically calls Onana a victim, blames everybody else for his poor form in a United shirt. Like, it's just funny how the agendas change as soon as players leave or as soon as they join, in terms of positive and negative when it comes to United. Again, the agenda is real. The bias is real. I've told you guys this many times. To me, it's just another underperformer out the door. You got to let some of the media stuff go. Just kind of roll off your back like water on a duck. But it's just calling him a victim. It's like United are not the problem when you palm shots back into the box, when you literally sit on your ass while this Gibbs White shot, which wasn't even a hard shot, just comes bouncing right past you. It's literally like a sing-along video, this ball. And Onana is literally, he goes, he falls, and then he just watches it. And that might have been one of the most angry moments I've ever had as a United fan watching that. I can't talk about it. It's just going to make me angry. Woosa. All right, cool. I'm freaking annoyed right now. Danny says, was it Cunha that basically scored from a corner? Pick one. Pick one, man. We conceded a couple. I think we conceded like 2 Olympicos last season, if I remember correctly. It was embarrassing, dude. One of them, I think, was Bayindir, though, to be fair. Warbzel, welcome back. Says, I think because of how hyperbole social media gets, people think that Onana's situation has blown out of proportion, but really is he just that bad at the yeah, he's awful. He's just awful. To his credit, he is comfortable with the ball at his feet in terms of just like control, and he loves a Cruyff turn, but that's literally the only thing I've seen him be halfway. He's made a couple of nice saves, but that's about it. I do think he was largely at fault for the goal we conceded in the Europa League final. He's been largely at fault for many, many goals. You can go watch them on YouTube. I don't have to go through them all. I've listed the ones that I think are the most damning examples. The Gibbs White, the goal against Brighton. There's another one against Leicester. It's literally just shot comes in and he just palms it back. Like he's playing fucking patty cake with the fucking ball, dude. It's freaking embarrassing, dude. Freaking embarrassing. Arkham says, yes, that was Cunha. Ugh, God. Stephanie wants to get in her all-time 11. All right, let's go through it, Stephanie. What you got for me? Schmeichel, Irwin, Edwards. All right, big up. Styles, right on. Is it Dylan? If you're still watching, I think Jeff kind of know Nabi Styles. If I remember correctly, Dylan, let me know if I'm misremembering that. Done. Right on. Keno, Scholesy, Charlton, Best, Law, Ronaldo. You know who doesn't get much play is Aston, the left side winger that featured really heavily in that 68 Cup final. If you guys go back and watch that, you can watch it on MUTV. Aston was like out of this world watching that. I was like, dude, this guy, because he was in such a good team, sometimes it's easy for some of these players to kind of not get as much mention, but Aston was world class, dude. But big up, thank you for sharing that, Stephanie. Yeah, go back and watch that video if you want to see. It's kind of like you guys are play like apples to apples. You know, we're giving our picks on that video, and defending the picks. It's good times. Stephanie says Onana was an unnecessary signing. Ironically, his best game was against City in our cup final win, but he still let one in. Yeah, I mean, we all know why we signed Onana. I think we all Ten Hag wanted to start getting to this modern goalkeeping, building out from the back, treating goalkeepers basically as outfield players, they're now outfield players. They're not just hoof it long or chuck it to the fullback. They can build out from the back, start that initial phase and that's what he saw in Onana. The problem is Onana got to United and it just looked like it was just always going to be this insurmountable like peak that he just couldn't reach in terms of just not succumbing to the pressure, not letting. I mean, the guy would let in goals and then he would just lay like flat on his face for like a minute on the pitch, and it took people to come and it took Reguilon to come and pick him up off the ground at one match, and it's just he just doesn't have it here in terms of just resilience and that assertiveness and that confidence, man. And maybe United did that to him, but that's not United's fault. There's nothing wrong with that. The guy is just, he's so uncoordinated too when he comes out. You guys ever watch him try to actually, when he was like, okay, this is the corner, I'm going to come off my line. He just comes and he looks like the inflatable at a used car lot. He's just like he's at a rave, and he looks like he closes his eyes when it's embarrassing, man. I'd be embarrassed to be his teammate. I'd be embarrassed to be related to him. Or says excited for the future. 2 years max being given to perform and identifying targets, not rushing into getting band-aid solutions, waiting for the next window. Yeah, I like it. I do think I would have liked to have seen us push for a midfielder a little bit. Obviously, Dylan and I talked about that in last week's show. You guys go watch that as well. Stephanie says, yeah, Ashton Jr. was man of the match. Yeah, he was an absolute baller. He was just like the day everybody remembers best in Charlton and Law and all these Stepney and these guys, Styles, but there's a lot of unsung heroes at United throughout the year. So, but I like that Ineos and Amorim have been ruthless AF when it comes to players like Onana and Rashford and whatnot. We're going to talk a lot more about that tomorrow in tomorrow's show. To kick about ruthlessness and whatnot, and how that could also extend to managers as well. So Amorim is not completely off the thin ice. So, but yeah, keep getting your thoughts in on Onana. Not a whole lot of transfer talk today, obviously. What do you guys make of this? Of Nuno Espirito Santos getting the sack today? I thought that was a little insane. Not today. Sorry, that would have been yesterday. I don't know if you guys saw that news. Nuno sacked by Farce. We kind of saw that coming. I think they're in 10th right now. Basically, I think the same points as we are. I think they just have a worse GD than us. Sort of feels like Nuno wanted to get sacked. After all the shit that's come out, he and Edu maybe not seeing eye to eye. He's kind of gotten pushed out of the cool kids club a little. You guys ever watched the American version of The Office when Will Ferrell takes over and then Jim kind of gets pushed out of the cool kids club because he speaks up? That's kind of like what the whole Nuno situation felt like. I do think it's a little messed up that Edu just came in July and Forrest are kind of already backing Edu over Nuno. Nuno took them to their highest league finish, I believe. Really, I don't know. Part of that doesn't rub me the right way. It is what it is. Of course, hasn't stopped a ton of United fans from going on social media and pointing at this. And then you see this, like all I've seen is like this Fabrizio Romano breaking, Nuno sacked. And then sure enough, it's like a photo of Amorim underneath it. And everyone's just going, see, you got to be ruthless. Like Forrester willing to pull the trigger. It's just ridiculous. We were ruthless. We sacked Ashworth and Ten Hag, but it's just the situations with Amorim and whatnot are very different. It's just Amorim is the board's guy. He's their guy. What are you guys saying? Gary says Edu is a snake. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened with the whole situation at Arsenal. Anyway, I thought that he and Arteta were basically just building, like that whole process wasn't he like the process basically. Obviously I'm not a Forest fan, not an Arsenal fan because I've got a brain. But I don't get that whole situation. It's weird that the sporting director has that kind of say coming in July and then just saying no, bye. Interesting stuff. Owners can do whatever they want, and so who's I forget the Greek guy's name that owns it, but and you could tell Forrest I think have been planning this for a while. Ange Postecoglou obviously is in there now. His name was probably already on the manager's office door when Nuno left that meeting with the owner and went to go pack up his things. He probably went like, oh, that's not my name. Yeah, it's weird stuff, man. Orbital says, I saw a stat that we scored 3 goals in 3 different games of the 2023 CL group stage and only walked away with 1 point because of Onana stakes. We scored a lot of goals. Hoyland I think he was a top scorer for that group stage, if you can believe it. But we definitely did lose that because of two things. It was probably like 75% Onana, and it was like 25% shit defending, because there was definitely a couple goals, two or three goals that we conceded, especially against Bayern, that were just simple cutback goals. People just get caught ball watching, follow this player all the way to the byline, and then a simple cutback to the edge of the box, and sure, it's happened. We conceded so many goals like that season, if you guys remember. It was one of the most embarrassing seasons in terms of defending. Yeah, we kind of knew it was coming when it came to Nuno. Stephanie says Nuno replaced by Ange, so Ange has a chance of retaining Europa League with Forest. The problem is that we all know how Ange plays now, and so it's not like his first season at Spurs where he was this unknown quantity and everyone was like, "Oh shit." We know how he plays. We know how to counter it. The Forest players are not used to playing that way, so I would not be shocked. I don't want it, but I wouldn't be shocked to see some of them pick up injuries, especially the center backs, the way Van de Ven was dropping like a fly every couple weeks. Who do Forest have now in defense? Trying to think. Do they still have Murillo? Someone let me know if they still have Murillo, because he's excellent player. But if you're not prepared for that kind of up in, like, if you're used to running a certain amount as a center back, and then all of a sudden you get a guy who wants to play the high line again. This is what I've said. It's about system. In the right system, Harry Maguire would be amazing. If you put him in like a David Moyes side or something, or Jose Mourinho side more, he would look amazing, right? But if you put him in a system that plays a high line, you put him in a system where he's got to be good on the ball, it's not going to look great. And it's more about system than player necessarily. Let's see. Bexy, come back later on this week, but we'll do the match prediction for the Derby later on this week. Stephanie says keeper mistake doesn't matter as long as team wins a match, but it's a bit like handicap at golf. Yeah. And keepers do. I mean, it is a bit more pressure. You are basically the last line of defense. If everyone else makes a mistake, the ball is usually going to end up in front of you, and you've got to figure it out. And usually in that situation, the keeper is the one who's going to take the blame, despite the fact that 11 of his teammates also allowed that ball to get all the way back there. It's difficult. You do have to. They are different animal keepers. You do have to be a certain level of just focused here and different things. And I do feel for them in that regard. You know, it's just, whether it's your fault or not, it's usually going to be. This is why I don't like clean sheets being used as the metric for the Golden Glove, because that has a lot more to do with the defenders and everybody basically than just the keeper. It should be looked at like as saves versus shots faced and whatnot. That, because you can have a keeper who's faced like 20 shots in a match, and a keeper who's faced like 2, and it's like, if someone makes 18 saves and loses and the other one doesn't have to do anything and they win, like, it's, to me, it's not the same. But you guys know how I feel about that. Let's see. So yeah, Nuno gone. Managers, we're going to talk a little bit about ruthlessness tomorrow as well. Let's talk about this midfield stuff, because that's what you all really want to talk about. So make sure you guys are liking, make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. And like I said, it is today is the 500th video on the channel, so big up everybody for getting us there. It's just want to keep celebrating that because it's fun. We've spoken a couple times over the summer, past the summer. Dylan and I spoke about it last week. United's midfield situation, right? Not only have we spoken about just the midfielders we have, who fits, who doesn't fit, why, who could be leaving, who could be staying, all this kind of stuff. But obviously, we lamented the fact that we failed to bring in a midfielder, despite pushing hard to get Baleba. It doesn't seem like Brighton wanted to sell. We didn't want to spend probably what it would have taken after an expensive summer. And so I hear all of it. You guys know I'm just as frustrated as you. Hold on, let me get a drink of water here. Hold on. Get this in the UVE store, by the way. Allergies, road sore. So in our season prediction show again, I even may say it as a hot take that I think United will buy a midfielder in January. And apparently Fabrizio Romano watches the channel and gets his news from me, because that's what he said this week, in no specific terms. That Manchester United maintain the idea to do one more signing in the January window, might be more. A new midfielder will join in 2026. It remains to be seen if it's a top player like Baleba, as the deal will be difficult, or an opportunity on the market like Conor Gallagher. Remember, United did reach out to Atletico Madrid for a loan with Conor Gallagher, but Atletico Madrid did not want to just do a loan. They were open more to a sale. I forget what the price was. I want to say it was like 40 or 50 is what they wanted. I wouldn't want Gallagher for 40, 50 million, but on loan, I think it definitely would have been better than nothing. And so it's been interesting, right? So adding fuel to the fire now, United's former chief scout, Mick Brown, who worked at the club for over a decade, recently revealed in an interview with Footy Insider that United have actually been eyeing midfielders, and one midfielder in particular is who Mick Brown happened to bring up, a player that we've scouted several times in the channel, and that's Elliot Anderson. Plays at Forest, joined them from Newcastle in a bit of a shady deal involving Vlachodimos, both players kind of going for well over their market value to basically circumvent PSR. This is what Mick Brown had to say. I've got it on a couple slides. So United have been looking at Anderson. United see him as exactly the type of midfielder they would like to bring in. I agree wholeheartedly. He gets up and down the park. He's confident and secure in possession of the ball, and he's not afraid to put in a tackle, which is something they need. Absolutely, 100%. Couldn't agree more. Anderson would solve or certainly help with a lot of the issues they've had under Amorim. Everybody knows they wanted a midfielder in the summer, but they couldn't find the right one who was available at the price they wanted. I don't know what Anderson would cost, but he is somebody who's been on their radar. He would be the ideal player to fill the gaps they've had in the squad. And again, that's Mick Brown, former Manchester United chief scout. Let me get caught up on the chat. You guys get your thoughts in on Anderson. We scouted him. I like him. I know you guys like him. We looked at the numbers. He definitely is the more physical kind of guy. He's not going to be that ball progressor with a pass, but he can resist that first press, carry the ball up the pitch. He does have a bit of that John McGinn about him as well. He does get around the pitch. Let's see. Yeah, actually, it is the best time to play City for sure. I think it's probably our best chance. Stephanie says, Sean, are you thinking Baleba is coming this January? I don't. If you had to ask me right now, I don't think that we would be able to get Baleba in January. It would cost a lot to get Baleba from Brighton in January. It's going to cost a lot of money anyway. And you guys know how I feel about spending like $100 million on one player when you could probably go get like 3 players for the same price. It's always going to be harder for me to justify spending that on one player, especially during a rebuild when it really needs to be about buying the right players and building and not just always going for the obvious answer. I do like Baleba. I do like Adam Morton. I do like the guys who probably would cost a lot of money. Am I willing to forego that, and if it comes down to a financial thing? Bexy's not so sure about Baleba. Let me know why. 100 million, too much. 100 million is a lot. I think that 100 million for any one player is a lot, especially, like I said, at this stage of the rebuild. I don't want the rebuild to get derailed by the opportunity to shine, to buy a shiny toy. Now, if Baleba is who we want, we did go after him. If that's the list, then I have to not only back that, right, but I have to assume that Ineos have a plan with that Baleba just won't be the only signing of the summer, if that's the case, if that makes sense. Next year, again, Bruno could be sold next year, could get a big windfall from that one, probably going to double what we paid for him, a lot of profit there. That could be a help. Casemiro's wages off the books, that's going to save us, 13 to 15 million per year. That could be a big help as well. Maybe we could sell Ugarte. Who knows? Could be a lot of options. If we sold Dallo, we could probably make double our money on Dallo, and that could be a big help as well. Jay said, welcome, Jay, as what, a DM? Anderson's probably going to be just that physical player that like you would play next to Bruno or someone or you play next to like a Stiller or a Wharton, someone who's got a little bit more pace, a little more intensity, a little more physicality. He's going to win the ball back. He's going to put in a tackle, but he can carry the ball if he needs to. He's not going to be that one who's going to ping a perfectly placed pass, put it on a dime or something like you would get from like a Bruno or a Stiller. But the pivot's going to be 2 complementary players, just like you see at Sporting under Amorim and things. Danny thinks it's going to be about 75 for Anderson. Anderson, Hackney, Baleba, João Gomez even. We need to be looking at these guys like this, in my opinion, when it comes to midfielders. Again, we need a playmaker on one side. We need a more physical person. I would love it if you could have both. It's not going to happen, though. But who would be your with that in mind, let's say the criteria is one's kind of known for being more of a playmaker, maybe not as physical. The other one may be a little more physical, but like Baleba, can pick a pass if they need to, can drive the ball forward if they need to. What would be your kind of pairing? Let me know in the chat. Now, I put a poll out there. What do you think we will do in January? And do you think we'll get a center midfielder? So far, 47% of you think it's going to be someone big like Baleba or Adam Wharton. 18% might just be like a loan, like Gunnar Gallagher, like we saw with Sabitzer a couple years ago. 24% say yes, but someone that maybe we haven't been linked with, maybe a new name. And then 12% say no, nothing done till the summer. Keep getting involved in that. But let me know also who would maybe be your two with that kind of criteria in mind, playmaker and then like a physical kind of pacey. If money weren't an object, I'd probably still go Wharton and Baleba. Personally, I think they would be a very good complementary pair. But I could go either way. I can go Wharton, Anderson. I could go Stiller and João Gomez. I think any two combinations would be very, very good, man. Especially if Wolves are struggling around Christmas time, that João Gomez might be an opportunity. We will do a video around Christmas, around December. Don't forget, Dylan and I are going to Manchester between Christmas and New Year's, so you're going to get content then, but we'll see. But again, we'll do a video around then of January deals for United. So obviously can't do that too soon because it's going to depend a lot on table position and whatnot. Stephanie says Anderson looks like a big unit as well, which is what we lack. Yeah, he's definitely. So if I bring up Elliot Anderson's percentiles here, what are we looking at? So yeah, he's definitely improved. So he does pick a pass, but the problem is his pass completion is well below average. It's less than, he's like in the bottom 25 percentile, which is well below average. But everything else is above average aside from interceptions. But interceptions is literally middle, which is not bad at all. But everything else, take-ons, top 10%, tackles, top 12%, aerial duels, top 10%, shot creating action, top 25. Like, these very good numbers. It's a lot of green. Literally, there's only one red, and it's pass completion. So again, he's not going to be the one that's going to pick those passes out and find everybody all the time. He'll probably try. Doesn't mean it might come off, but it doesn't mean he's bad at it. He just needs to work on it a little bit. He's still young, so not going to go in him. But he's definitely not the guy who, like, you wouldn't play him next to like an Ugarte. I would play him next to like a Stiller or a Bruno or a Wharton or something, and let him kind of do that. Wharton's probably the closest thing I've seen to Michael Carrick since Michael Carrick was here. You could argue maybe Nemanja Matic is in there as well, but I think I see a little bit more from Adam Wharton than I do from Nemanja Matic. But don't sleep on Nemanja Matic. The guy was a baller. Rob always says Stephanie with the cool comments. Danny says, we play with 2 8s. Yeah, we play with 2 8s. They're just going to be a little bit more complementary to each other. Danny says, Anderson, Lamine Kamara, Buati. All right, the young guy. Yeah. A lot of good players out there, you guys. Stephanie says, need a functional midfield quartet, that's for sure. Combative central midfield duo is vital. Yeah, no matter what, the players in midfield have to have intensity. And they don't just mean put the tackle in, but you have to be willing to just play for 90 minutes. You have to have resilience. You have to have composure. I want 11 leaders on that pitch at all times, like no matter what. Bexy says, Wharton or Anderson I like, but I hear Real Madrid are looking at Wharton, which could hike his price up. Well, who haven't Real Madrid been linked with? If they want Stiller, if Stiller's holding out for Real Madrid and they look at Wharton, I mean, we'll see what happens there. I mean, Real Madrid are not shy from picking apart Premier League. They just, brought Housen, who's excellent for Bournemouth last season, especially. I think whatever one Real Madrid don't get, we need to go for. But this could be something. Maybe he doesn't want to go to Spain. Who knows? I mean, everybody wants to play for Real Madrid, though. Danny says, if money isn't the issue, Anderson, Baleba, Buati. I like that. Buati's good. I like to come in and have these young guys. So what does that mean for young guys from the academy then? Because Buati's like 17, 18, if I remember correctly. What about Kone? What about Fletcher, Bragamoff? There's a lot of good guys. Danny says, Wharton down my list, injury. Yeah, I think it's so he obviously had that groin issue last season that required surgery, but he's been excellent. And this one is not a groin issue. It's an abductor issue. So it's different injury. And so again, you never know if he could start to be like a Shaw or a Leach or a Mount, where maybe the injuries do start piling up. You always worry a little bit when it's a young player picking up injuries, but different than the issue he had last year. So we'll see how it goes. But if he, it doesn't look like it's going to be very long from what I've heard, from somebody that I've spoken with personally. It doesn't look like it's going to be a very big deal. So we'll see how it goes, though. It's all about recovery. It's all about bouncing back from that kind of stuff. So I can't reveal too much more. Rob, big up, Rob Taff. Good to see you again, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Danny says Buati's levels above them playing Champions League football against. Yeah, Buati's definitely one who's going to be potential to be, I don't like to use this term generational, but he's got potential. He's looking good. A lot of good young players popping up all around the world, man. You guys don't sleep on some of these players from other leagues, man. These guys are excellent. There's a lot of good midfielders out there, all different ages. We've scouted several of them over the last year, and more are popping up. We've got a couple more that once I get a couple more young players, we'll do another scouting report special as well. Rob's chiming in with his picks. Won't be Baleba in January. The club have fed the PR machine that they're looking at another midfielders for January. I'm thinking a younger replacement for Casemiro, and there are plenty of them out there. We need if we don't get someone in, we can't wait till he leaves. We have to start phasing this out. It would be great if we could get a little bit of money for him in January, Casemiro. That would be awesome, but I doubt that's going to happen. But again, if he leaves, we need somebody else. Mount can maybe play in that midfield, and I wouldn't be opposed to it. But we're going to see how he stays fit. Mainu, young to be relied upon week in, week out. Ugarte, I think Ugarte is going to be, I don't want to say just a utility. He's going to be the one you play against certain opposition, against certain tactics, when you just want to disrupt that midfield rhythm, if a team plays a lot through midfield, you're going to want him to just break that up a little bit. And he's going to have a role. Now, whether or not he's happy with that is up to him. Whether or not he wants to play more, it's going to be up to him as well. He's got to improve in other areas if he wants to do that. But let's see here. Danny says, Lennon Miller watched this season. Yes, he went to Udinese, didn't he? If I remember, was he at Udinese or did he go to Bologna? I can't remember now. I know there's another Scottish player at Bologna last time I checked. We did scout Lennon Miller a while back. I thought that he and Hackney would have been the perfect Sir Alex midfield duo for the next decade if we could get those two. But alas and alack, Ineos not in their plans apparently. Bexy says, what are your thoughts on Barada? He looks really switched on. The whole management team looked pretty solid. The outing of the Deadwood has been great. Yeah, that was your guys. As we voted going into the summer, what was the biggest task for you guys? And you guys, the majority of those who voted clearing the Deadwood. And I think that that's a big part of it. It's not just about buying players when it comes to rebuild. And we're going to talk about this a little bit tomorrow as well. And it's not just about buying players when it comes to backing the managers, right? It's going to be, there's a lot that goes into it, and it does take time. I'm surprised that we managed to ship off as many players as we did. We still have a couple dicking around like Malacia and whatnot, and we could be in similar situations next summer with like Sancho and Onana and whatnot. But it's good to get these guys out of here, especially Anthony, Rashford probably maybe going, Garnacho gone as well. But there's going to be a lot of players that are just walking next summer. And so who knows what's going on with Maguire. Shaw is still an issue that we need to figure out. Licha could just need to be shipped off if he can't stay fit anymore. Dallo, I'd love to sell Dallo as well. Mount, if we could get money from Mount, I wouldn't be opposed to that. But again, every player we sell now, as we trim down that squad, every player you sell means you got to bring someone else in when you get to a certain point. Because we did have a bit of a bloated squad. Now we're trying to trim that down. And so when you start doing that, you got to replace them. Yeah, Danny, I'm steps ahead of you, man. Don't worry. You're on the right path though, bud. Rob says, I think it's a case of someone younger to get used to everything and ready to go into the new season. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of players. Maybe we could ask Chelsea to do us a favor and throw us like Romeo Lavia or something. Who knows? Let's see. All right, I'm caught up on chats. So Elliot Anderson, according to Mick Brown, United's former chief scout, he is on our list. We are looking at him. Obviously, we know he would suit a lot of what we're looking at. He ticks a lot of the boxes for what we're looking at as well. So there are so many good midfielders, basically what we're saying, in the Premier League, outside of the Premier League. We've scouted dozens of them over the last just couple months alone. Go check out those scouting report videos. But with Edu showing up at Forest this summer, the owner of Forest pretty much letting Edu pull the strings at that club, Anderson could be even more gettable than before. He was there before Edu's there. Edu, if he's that specific about things, if he and Nuno just didn't see eye to eye, maybe there's a chance that some of these players that were there before Edu could be deemed surplus, if that makes sense. Edu only just joined in July. Nothing to do with Anderson, obviously, the year before. We'll see what happens. He'd cost a bit. I worry that if Kobe doesn't get the minutes that he thinks he deserves, that he could push to leave, and I worry that he could see Forest as a prospect. If that's the case, though, if Kobe pushes to leave because he's not getting minutes or he thinks he should, and he's not happy to be a rotation option as a 20-year-old, then maybe it's time to move him on. I don't know. Maybe use him as a make weight, but it's interesting. So, yeah, let me know what you think our midfield business could look like. What do we do anything in January at all? Again, I do have that video planned, partially already prepped. I've already got like 6 or 7 players that are ready to go on that list. That could change as the season goes on. It's just going to depend on how things go. Table position. Some of them aren't, because some of them are entering the final year of their contract. Some of them will be out of in their off season in January, if that's a hint of who I might be looking at. So keep that in mind as well. But rest assured, there are plenty of deals to be done. I have a lot in mind. So some of them you've seen me cover before, some of them you haven't. But being realistic in the context of a January market, what do you think we could do this winter? Because winter is typically hard. Now, again, it's a World Cup season, and we saw a lot of craziness going on. I think there's an Aubameyang joined Arsenal before the World Cup that one year, and was that 2008, 2014? I don't remember now. You never know. You never know. Rob says center back is a big issue next summer. Maguire is gone. Shaw, Martinez not reliable. A lot to replace. Yeah, we'll wait to see what happens with Licha. This was like his first not contact injury. Probably did have a lot to do with how long he wasn't playing ahead of that, but the ACL, not non-contact. The other two were contact. So it's like, and if you saw the episode of What If recently, the Luke Shaw, like the contact injury, how much of that had to do with all the stuff that came after it, it's hard to know sometimes without being an actual medical doctor. So we'll see if Leach has got the mentality for sure to bounce back. And I think people underestimate just what the mind can really do in terms of just recovery process. When you'd be surprised at how connected things like prolonged stress and anxiety, what that actually does to your body internally, whether that's your GI tract or just anything, just your chemical, your neurochemical stuff, cortisol, all that stuff. It's big. And so if you've got a good mentality, if you've got good help with that kind of mental side of things, it can make a big difference. I wonder what Shaw had going on there. And there's a lot of athletes there's a lot of stuff like depression, anxiety. I've talked about that in that Luke Shaw video that comes with long-term injuries as well. It's important to have people at the club that can help too. So, what are you guys saying here? Bexy says Cooney and Mount looks like he could be back for City. We'll see. We'll talk a little bit more about that preview. I don't know if I want to risk Cunha quite yet or Mount, but we'll see. Be sure to come back for later on this week for that match preview. Is there still midfield? Is there still international football going on today? You guys know I don't watch it. Yeah, midfielder is going to be critical. I'd say we need two as well. Unless someone like Fletcher and Kone just come in leaps and bounds and can come in and kind of be part of the squad. Collier, don't know what happens there. Like, we're going to need a couple. Rob says, we already haven't replaced Lindelof Evans unless Heaven was a prep. Well, remember, Heaven is seen as a first-team option. He's given that low number. Wilcox and them, they pushed for him. They were going to wait till the summer. They got him in January. They do see him as big help. I think Leach's injury probably Leach's injury. I think we just kind of escalated that. We knew the contract situations were going to happen with Lindelof and Evans. Fredrickson, obviously in and around the first-team squad, to Mizraoui, Yoro, Maguire, De Ligt, Shaw still playing there. And so we do have a lot of center backs. Obviously, we'll be down maybe one in the summer with Maguire. Who knows what's happening with Shaw, but I wouldn't be opposed to it, but it just needs to be a deal. I saw us linked with, I think, some Athletic Bilbao defender today. I don't there's not really anything there, honestly. Those links, it's just caught offside, just or Fakai is just saying, oh, this player is out of contract. United could need a defender. It's just that kind of stuff happens all the time. So let's see. Davey says Kone maybe, doubt Fletcher makes it. Fletcher looks, again, he's another one of those who just looks. Kone, I think, could definitely come in and be a rotation option. I don't mean like every other match. I mean like he could come on for a couple minutes here and there and not look too bad. Fletcher just looks, he's still one of those players at that level who's a little too good for the academy, but not quite good. He needs to go on loan. I think in January we should definitely throw some more players out on loan. We have a lot, though, out on loan. We've already got like 14, 15 that are out on loan right now. There's one player I might have recalled before we got Lamonzo is definitely going to be Vitek. Vexy says Onana must be a bit dejected going to Turkish team no one's heard of. Not heard of Trabzonspor? They're a big deal. I mean, I don't follow. I can name you one other player that I know of who's played for Trabzonspor because I remember when he went from the MLS to Trabzonspor, and that was Fabian Castillo. That was like 10 years ago. But obviously, I don't follow Turkish football, but most people are going to know about the Besiktas, the Fenerbahces, and the Galatasarays. But Trabzonspor is not small. They've got a pretty good rivalry going on over there. Danny letting us know how Dan Gore played. Yeah, we've got a lot of youngsters. Olga and I played this past. I think two of our youngsters played. I think it might have been Ennis and somebody else played against each other this past week. I can't remember off the top of my head. Yeah, I think because he was banned. Bexy, remember he was banned for violating like substance policies or something. I don't remember now off the top of my head. This is back when he was at Ajax. This was pre-Ten Hag though. Rob still thinks we need a striker, right wing back, center back, and a CDM. Well, I do have a right back featured in my scouting report special video coming up as well. So keep an eye on that. And I do have one in my January deal video too, because that player is in their off season in January. So you see, always thinking, you guys. I stay ready 24/7 for you guys. You guys know that. All right, let's go on. A little bit more to color here. So, did you guys see all this Man City craziness that's been going on? I think a lot of people need to read a little bit more because I think like City. So they settled City with the Premier League on this. I think it's associated third party stuff, transactions. Doesn't have anything to do with the charges. Nothing to do whatsoever with the charges. Basically, what this City nonsense. So there's a rule that says the Premier League gets to determine what sponsorships should be worth on the open market, and they would only value those sponsorships so that you can't overinflate them. Basically, not allowing clubs who are state-owned or whose sponsoring companies also have board roles or whatever, not allowing them to just basically shift money around, play a shell game with the money to kind of make ends meet. Their City or the Premier League is determining that. So basically, when this pissed City off, for obvious reasons. They tried to sue the league, saying that the rule was unlawful. Basically, they're upset with the rules about how sponsorship money works. From it just doesn't make sense. You can't be upset about that when you're the club owner, and you can't. It just doesn't work. How about stop giving out overinflated sponsorship deals because you own the sponsors? How about stop shifting players from clubs you own to City and vice versa? Like maybe you just play by the rules and you won't have to deal with this kind of nonsense. It's just moving money around basically. But in any case, they've settled. City decided moving forward. It is what it is. Doesn't have anything to do with the charges. The ruling is a win for football. I think that we need to make sure we keep this kind of nonsense out of the game. Personally, it's a loss for clubs like City and Newcastle and clubs who don't want the Premier League to decide what fair market value is when it comes to shady sponsorship deals. Oh, Danny boy, yeah. Y'all know I do watch some South American football now and then, but yeah, I got a couple. Don't worry. And one of them might have scored a couple goals over the weekend. Rob says, happy days. It means Ineos can now pump in money to United and Newcastle Villa will be happy as well. Basically, the rule just states that the Premier League gets to decide what your sponsorship deals are worth before you start just claiming them as sponsorship deals and whatnot. So, like City, you can't have a sponsor by City whose address is like some random PO box in Manchester or a company that doesn't actually do anything. You can't do stuff like that. We see right through it, and it's about time. So we'll see. I think a lot of people are just kind of going off on it and celebrating it like it's part of the charges. It's not. I still do think City will get punished, but the extent of that punishment, I couldn't tell you. But we'll see. What are you guys saying in here for this January situation? So still looks like you guys think that Ineos are going to go hard in the paint this January. I I have a hard time believing. Now the interesting thing is with like Adam Wharton, for instance, is that Glasner. I read, and I haven't yet seen if it's confirmed or not. I think this was from Indy Kayla that this is Glasner's last season at Palace. Don't quote me on that. We'll see. If anyone has heard that, let me know. Could be an interesting managerial situation next summer. I think Pep could probably leave City at some point in the near future as well. So don't sleep on that. I think Jose Mourinho could come in, take over at West Ham, and probably still find a way to get sacked before the end of the season. To be honest, I think that could very easily happen. You never know what could happen, man. But it's going to be a crazy year. But yeah, if Glasner goes, if he's already going, and Gahey's going to go again, could Wharton be the one that holds out? We saw Olise go, then we saw Eze go. Gahey almost went. It's probably going to be at least till January. Do they want to lose Wharton too? Could they, if they lose all four of those guys, that's going to be hard for Palace to recover from, man. Really, you feel for them a little bit, but it is what it is, man. This is why you can't sustain as a selling club, because if you can sell if you just want to make the money, but you've got to also try to sustain a little bit. You just can't. This is why Brentford are struggling. This is why Southampton got relegated many times. Like, it's cool. It helps you for a hot second, but you have to learn how to actually just play and do well and stop just being a selling club. Rob Taft says, if say the Saudi airplane company can put $1 billion in without Premier League stopping them, that opens the gates for the rest of it. Yeah, and that's why I don't like it. I don't like that Chelsea sell hotels to themselves. I don't like that. I get it to an extent. I just don't. Like, if you had the women's team, if you own the women's team, you can sell that's part of the club's identity. But I don't like that stuff kind of, I don't know. I don't like this is why I don't like also like owners that own multiple clubs. I don't like split things. I don't like things getting complicated. I don't like the possibility of any potential scrutiny or questioning. Just keep it simple, do things the right way, and it shouldn't be a problem. I don't like, if you have to do that kind of stuff, just then come on. What are you doing, man? Stephanie says Jose has his eyes on Premier League return. London club is well. West Ham's right there, and they tick all those boxes, right? Trying to think of who West Ham have. Would Jose do well at West Ham? Who would Jose want to get rid of right away? I think Jose would treat Thomas Suchek like his own, like Marwan Fellaini 2.0, basically. Just hoof it to Suchek, let him control it with his chest, and then get everyone else involved. Go find Jared Bowen and whatnot. Could be interesting. You mean Jose's comedy gold, so there's that. I don't like him. Rob says, are Forest doomed now that Ange is back? Happy days in the second season. It just, who knows what's going on this season, man. We have got clubs who lost a lot of players who didn't really adequately replace them. We've got managers getting sacked left and right. I mean, it's literally not even 5 games into the season and people are getting sacked all over football, dude. Jose, Oli, Ten Hag all sacked. Nuno already getting sacked. I've seen talk of Marco Silva maybe getting sacked as well. I do think Areola could walk away at some point because he wasn't really backed a whole lot in the summer. It's crazy, man. It's literally crazy, but it's interesting stuff. But let me know what you guys think on midfielders. If you weren't able to catch the live, please leave a comment. What would your midfield pivot be? Do you think we could get someone in January? What are your thoughts on the Premier League Hall of Fame nominees? Again, we talked about that to start the day as well. Talked a little bit about managers getting sacked, and then obviously talked a little bit about City. But not a whole lot of transfer talk going on as the international break kind of winds down to the final days. You guys know I don't really watch the qualifiers, so. But if you're wherever you're watching from, let me know how your nation did. Are you proud of them? Danny said Ireland lost. Sorry, brother. It does happen. But thank you guys for stopping by today. Appreciate everybody getting involved. Thank you for stopping by our 500th video, celebrating that. Go back and check out the What If episode. Go back and check out the scouting report, and go back and check out that transfer window rating and the season prediction video. That's getting a lot of traffic this past week. Really happy people are really vibing with that. I had fun doing that. You guys know we love having Dylan. Dylan, you're plotting your takeover, man. I know I lost my internet for like a couple minutes during that stream. Thankfully, you handled it, but I don't see you out there plotting your takeover of this channel. So, but in any case, guys, enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Be sure to come by tomorrow night for the Kickabout with Dylan. We'll talk a little bit more about some stuff. We've got the city preview, obviously, later on this week as well. But until then, take it easy. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe to the channel, check those memberships. Go get you something in the UVE store, like my Fergie Time mug. I'm going to get another drink of water. And thanks for stopping by, guys. I'll see you later. Bye.